Hello and welcome to a new reading vlog. So this week I am just mood reading and I've already read something. That's my washing machine beeping in the background. I was listening to Mother, Daughter, Murder Night by Nina Simon. So basically a group of women in a family, grandmother, mother and daughter, get caught up in a murder. The daughter, teenager, gets accused, gets pegged as one of the main suspects, so they decide to try and solve it. But I listened for 3 hours and I could not muster a care to give. I was utterly bored. It wasn't enrapturing. It wasn't captivating my attention. I think this was a 12-hour audiobook as well. And I couldn't get into it. The characters, the murder, I read some reviews and they did say that it's a bit slow paced in the beginning and it takes a while to get good, but
ain't nobody got time for that.
Once again, I'm on the hunt for books that grip me from the get-go. You know, immediately I'm invested and I'm entertained and I want to keep on reading. This one, I actually dreaded every time I put it on because I knew I was going to get bored, right? And I was like, no, I'd rather just put a YouTube video on in the background than listen to this. So I knew that was my sign to let it go. So the next book that I picked up was Danger and Other Unknown Risks by Ryan North and Erica Henderson. So the illustrations were lovely. This is about a teenage girl and her talking dog that are trying to save the world from bad magic by collecting items from other different points in time and history. Look, this was really cute, but it was very confusing. And I just felt very meh about it. A talking dog really should have got me, but for whatever reason, I just didn't bond with any of the characters in the book. And like I said, it's one of those sort of time repeat loop mystery things where, yeah, it was just very confusing. The main villain guy reminded me a lot of the dude from Breaking Bad. And I couldn't take it seriously, so to speak. It was fine though. It was entertaining. I gave it a 3.25. It just didn't wow me, but I think a lot of people would enjoy this. But I do find, yeah, that the storyline was a little bit perplexing, but I think this will appeal to a lot of people. On my Kobo, I'm currently reading You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanne Wallace. So this is supposed to be a more comical horror book about a serial killer named Claire who ends up getting blackmailed. There is sort of a game afoot between Claire and this blackmailer and them getting in the way of a part-time hobby. I did read the first chapter and you get some lovely instances of physical child abuse perpetrated by a mother against her young child. So that was hard to stomach. So I don't know. I thought, is it actually going to be hardcore or is it going to be more comical? As yet to be seen. I don't know which direction this is going to go. So I will continue on and we'll see how I feel about it. So far, like, I don't hate it. It was just very jarring and I was like, oh, this is a bit more. This is just getting right into it. Hey, so we'll see how we go with this one. This could be a hit or miss just because I'm a bit squeamish with this kind of genre. Physically, I've got 2 physical books from my library and they are Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. And this says a seductively twisted romance about loyalty, fate, the lengths we go to hide the darkest parts of ourselves, and the people who love those parts most of all. So I have seen this doing the rounds and I think mostly people are enjoying it. So I thought I'd give it a go. And then I've got Twice Shy by Sarah Hodge. Love speaks louder than words. If you dream something hard enough, it might just come true. So I picked this up because I saw Riley rave about it. So this is one of those cases where a booktuber influenced me to pick it up. I'm getting better at writing down now where I discover books because I was just writing it on a piece of paper or I saw someone mention this or someone said this in the comments and naturally I would lose said pieces of paper. So I was like, Chanel, you got to implement a better system, bitch, because this is not cool. So now I take, if it's a booktuber comment that's online, I just take a screenshot and put it with my other books. So I'm like, oh, that's where I got this. So that's where I got this recommendation from. So this is a romance. So I've got Twice Shy on the agenda, Your Blood, My Bones, You'd Look Better as a Ghost. I do try to do, I think, around 6 books. Most people said that they prefer 15 to 30 minute videos, and that tends to be around the 6 book range for me. I could speak about the books more in length, but I don't know if that's something I should do. Less books, speak about them more, keep it to how it is and do the 6. A lot of people have been reading Elder Race. There was Monty and Samus, so I will see if I can get a hold of that. I don't know. It might be one that's just not at the library and then I'll have to ask them to get it and that will take a year or I'll just have to buy it. So I'm going to have to do a little hunt around, see if I can get a copy of the Elder Race. But yes, I do have 2 slots open besides the books that I've showed you. So I'm keeping, like I said, room for something randomly coming into the library that I've reserved or whatever I just feel like I'm in the mood for that I can just borrow from my library instantly. So today the kids are going to go to their dad, so I'm getting a whopping 4 days in a row of me time, which is phenomenal. And we've gotten hit with a beautiful week of weather this week. In winter, it's just going to be sunny, and even though it might only be 10 degrees, if the sun is shining, I can do it. I can get out there. So I'm going to hit up, I think, a cafe today, a bookstore for a future Wild Ones book club. So the poll is up for that. Apologies. I'd meant to post the community poll to vote for the next book at the same time I posted the reading vlog, but I swapped my PM and AMs. So that is up if you wanted to vote for next month. I think at the moment the Witchstone is in the lead. I think Kitten Tits is very close behind, but those two seem to be the front runners for that poll. So I will close that poll on the 7th of July. I give it a week. But yes, bookstore today. And I might just have a wander around. I normally, when the kids go to their dad's, will just use it to recover, but that's because I only get like 1.5 days normally, and I need that one whole day to rest. I spend a half a day cleaning, and then I spend a whole day just relaxing, staying at home. But because I've got 4, I think I can at least do 3 full days out in the world, doing some more things, going out. I would love to go on a date. Currently chatting to people. So far, no dates have eventuated, but I'm sure maybe I'll go on one, just pick one of these people to go on a date with. But yes, I'm feeling a bit social, which is unlike me. It's not very like me.
I guess I could use a little social interaction.
So I'm trying to jump on that and make the most of it. And in the meantime, also read, but I've got a lot of videos to edit. So I will be spending the majority of a day editing. And obviously I still have to work. I still have to trade the stock market. So I'm talking as if like, oh, I'm a lady of leisure. I have responsibilities still. It's just taking care of the kids is now not going to be one of them. And that takes a lot of time. So that time I now have free to myself. And I've got a lot of rainbows on my face, but I don't mind that. It's cute. And hopefully my dad will come back to change up. Well, I'm just so eager for this to be an apricot rather than a blue. I'm like very excited for it. I think it's going to just make my room feel a bit more cozy. But otherwise, I'll see you guys once I've done some more reading. Hey guys, so I have finished You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanne Wallace. So this is about a serial killer who does not tolerate elder abuse and has very macabre tastes in aquarium decorations. For me, this definitely reminded me of How to Kill Your Family and A Certain Kind of Hunger, and maybe like a tiny bit of Butcher and Blackbird. So if you like those 3 types of serial killer books, you probably will thoroughly enjoy this. The main character was kind of giving me April from Parks and Rec vibes, but much more unhinged and probably less funny. And that was my biggest issue with this, is it wasn't as funny as I was led to believe it was. So this wasn't for me. It's not my style. I've given it 3.5, but that's because, yeah, it was too much on the visceral serial killing, too little on the ha-has. So I just found it hard to stomach. The plot though was actually kind of super dramatic. In the beginning, it started going this direction and I thought, oh no, is this what's going to happen throughout the rest of the book? Because I'll be pissed off if it is. But no, there's twists and twists and twists, and like the main character is, she's quite something. She she doesn't tolerate being pushed around. Let's just say that. The child abuse still is in there because the character flashes back to the relationship with her mother constantly throughout the book. But yeah, this was a very super dramatic, twisty-turny kind of book. So it was fast-paced in that respect. It was slow until we get to the more meaningful murder. I'll just say that there's so many murders in this. There's so many. Is she like super careful with her kills? No, she's not. But yeah, I can't say I enjoyed it. It's just, I think if you like those other kinds of books, you will love this. It's just, I'm not really into them, but this is probably like the best out of that kind of book that I have read, which is why I gave it 3.5. That's high for me for this kind of slasher, murder killer, POV one. And then we've got Your Blood by My Bones by Kelly Andrew. This is about a group of childhood friends who discover the deep, dark woods demand blood. So the main character, Wyatt, returns to her family home and discovers one of said childhood friends is strung up in the basement. And she then learns that she knew nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Literally had no idea what was actually going on, what her family was involved with. So this is definitely enemies to lovers. The biggest issue I had with this is that the male love interest, Petia, so one of her friends, the guy who is strung up in the basement, does it say what he is? Yes, he's semi-immortal. And his purpose is to be sacrificed by her family continually to protect the town. So they've just been killing this kid over and over and over again. And he makes a deal with a dark entity, a shadow, demon-y kind of thing, to kill her instead so he can have his freedom and return home. But yeah, for her to protect the wood, she has to shank him as well. So it's enemies to lovers. It's very slow-paced. PTA is so stoic, too much so. When someone is so closed off emotionally, I can't rally behind them as a character and then them in a relationship. They're giving nothing. It's like a rock. He's just like stonewalling the chick, basically. And obviously they've got the third guy friend, the third wheel, in that he had a great personality. There's something going on with him. So there was interesting elements to this, but I still don't understand the magic system. I don't understand it. And so when I don't really get why things are happening or how they're happening, it's hard for me to really enjoy the book because I'm just confused. And like I said, the romance in this was too tepid for me. If that had been a bit more intense, I probably would have really loved this, despite the fact that the book world building felt messy. I probably would have, because like it is dark, which I did enjoy, and it had potential. There were elements there that I thought, oh, they could really be something, but I just felt they weren't made the most of in this particular book. I have given it a 3 stars, but yeah, it just didn't quite get there for me. And then I read, why can't I talk today? Then I read, I think it's because it's so fucking cold. It's literally like I'm living in a gothic horror novel at the moment. That's what the weather is today. By Sarah Hogel. This is a book about a character named Mabel who inherits her estranged dead aunt's dilapidated hoarder house, along with the grumpy groundskeeper Wesley, but really groundskeeper Willie, those are the vibes. And during the course of a very slow renovation, they fall in love. This is slow burn. This is very wholesome and PG. And there's a trope in there that I can't say because obviously it's a spoiler, but I don't like it, especially in a lot older characters. And whilst it was just feeling like a, kind of sweet, wholesome thing, there were certain things that happened at the end involving an airplane scene that I could not get past. If my romantic partner did that to me, that would cause me to have a very traumatic experience. Like, that was not okay. I can understand why they spun out and did what they did, but they didn't communicate anything to the person, and then the person was left shocked and bewildered by what obviously had happened, and no communication, no. Oh my God, that is a nightmare for me. That would be a nightmare for me. I would not move past that. I would feel very abandoned in that situation, and it was just too much. And I'm like, what? Along with like the zero spice, and then the main character likes to have these daydreams. Oh my God, I haven't said the main premise of this. So yes, she inherits a house. But what happened is in the beginning of this book, Mabel was being catfished by her own friend. And I mean, it's a frenemy situation. This chick at her work was pretending to be this hot guy and was stringing her along. And so she ends up finding out that that guy was not actually real. It was this bitch that was doing it. And then when she goes to the house, the grumpy groundskeeper is said hot guy. So that's the photos that the other chick was using. She was using them of this dude. So she was sort of in this weird situation where she thought she was having a relationship with said man and would have these elaborate fantasies of them together. And then she ends up meeting him in the real life, and he's not like her dream man. And so she's having to marry the dissonance between who she thought this guy was with who he actually is. But these daydreams that she would have, they were throughout the whole book. And I'm like, I get it. We all do, like most of us do that. Most of us fantasize a reality world where we're with these incredibly romantic people. But I don't want to read about a fictional character having fictional daydreams repeatedly for pages and pages in length. That got very tired. So this just didn't hit for me as a romance book. That's what it's meant to be. It's a romance book. I gave it 3 stars. Like, it was fine, but it didn't do what it needed to do for this lady. I have managed to get the Elder Race. It's at the library. I haven't gotten it yet. So because of that, I'm not going to include it in this vlog. I probably will be 100% reading it in the next vlog that you see. So instead of reading that, I just got approved on NetGalley to read The City in Glass. So I am actually jumping on that immediately. I don't even remember what it was about because I added it to my TBR back at the start of the year. And I'm just going to go into it blind, I think. Just going to be wild and reckless like that. So that is going to be the final book that I read for this vlog. Right now, I'm taking myself out to a cafe and I'm going to hit up another independent bookstore. So I might just show just a quick brief flash of it, but you'll see more about that in a Wild Ones vlog because I do have a date this evening. So I was chatting to so many people and just majority of those conversations just were meh. I have picked the one that I have had the best conversations with. I don't think it's going to be a marriage match, you know what I mean? But it's enough just to go out and meet each other and have a fun, great conversation kind of connection at the very least. I don't think it's going to be an awful date. So that's pretty much what I'm basing things now on. Do I think it's going to be awful? No, I'll go. But then I was shocked by Mr. Byron last time with the Jekyll and Hyde 180 switch from the date to the next morning's messages. So you never really know anybody. But this is just going to be very casual at a little small like watering hole kind of place. No expectations, just going to see what each other are like in person. After having chatted and really vibed, we just, even though there are some long-term compatibility issues that we've already both kind of brought up and discussed, we just want to satisfy our curiosities and see what we're like in person. You know, it's one of those situations where it would become a what if we didn't meet, just to confirm, because we could meet and there's nothing there, and fantastic. Obviously, if it ends up being like a phenomenal connection in real life, then we're going to have some tough discussions about said incompatibilities. But I don't think it's gonna go. I think we're just gonna go hang and it's gonna be friendly, and then like, yeah, we're not a romantic match, good luck, and I'll come home because from Saturday kids are back, so probably won't go on any more dates. I am seeing Mr. Too Sweet, the guy I went on 2 dates with but became friends with. I'm seeing him on Friday for a coffee, and I'm seeing what he's going to be like, because like I said, he did start flirting in the text and I was like, what's happening here? So I'm going to see, is he going to be clearly pushing to try and reignite a romantic thing between us, or has he accepted that, yeah, we're just mates? We will see on Friday. I'm hoping it's the latter and I found myself a friend. But here's tomorrow. So today, bookstore, cafe, date. I probably will not update you on the date. I'm not going to wear this outfit on the date. I'll be wearing this one whenever I end up deciding, something I'm probably worn on dates before and I was comfortable with. But I will see you guys when I have returned. I am back. That restaurant, cafe, is probably my favorite in Melbourne that I've been to so far. If I lived there, I would be there every day. The aesthetic, the architecture, the light, the food, the warmth. It was so warm. I just got to move because the cats are playing. I loved everything about it. So I found a new favorite cafe. And then I went to the stationery store and I got this pen. And I got just these little notepads. I'm going to write my name and number on them, so that way when I see someone that catches my eye, I can just pass them my digits. But did go to the library, got the Elder Race, so that'll be there for next week. And I got Catitude
for Indy, so hopefully she'll love this one. I've started reading The City of Glass and I am loving it. Can I just say, I'm gonna like show you a little screenshot of a page right here that just had me like clutching my pearls. It's about a demon and an angel, and there was a demon and that's the main character. Oh, is her name Vitrine? I think it's something like that. And she was in this city, which she loved. And then a group of angels came and she told them to go fuck themselves. And then they flinged her into the sea, and then they set the city ablaze. They just completely destroyed it. And supposedly, according to the blurb, one of the angels that destroyed the city is cursed by Vitrine because of what destruction he wrought, and they end up having an enemies to lovers romance. But so far, I'm really loving it. So we'll see how it goes. And I can't show you like the whole bookstore because that'll be in the Wild Ones vlog. It's very friendly, it's lovely. It was so hard for me not to buy Fruits of the Dead. I love the cover. The cover just speaks to me, but I know the storyline and I've seen the reviews and I know I'm not going to like that book. So that is a borrow from the library situation. But that cover is so pretty, man. Like, well done guys on an amazing cover. But I'll see you guys once I've finished City of Glass. Hello guys, so I finished the last book for this vlog, which is The City in Glass by Nebo. So this was an ARC from NetGalley. This is about a demon and an angel. So there was a demon named Vitrine who fell in love with a city and its people, and she was the demon of that city. And then one day a group of angels come and lay it to waste. And in her anger and her fury, she curses one of them. And like a thorn, she and her grief and rage become lodged within him so that he can no longer return with the other angels until she removes it from him. And so it is loosely an enemies to lovers. Whilst I thought this book was viciously romantic, it is not a romance. What I really enjoyed about this was that whilst I absolutely adore angels and demons, generally when you read books about angels and demons, they're quite human. There's a humanness to them. This is not the case in this book. This demon and angel are other. Don't look for humanity. Don't look for human qualities with them or you'll be disappointed. I personally found it fascinating to see their behaviors and their thought patterns and how they feel more human-like emotions like grief and love and loss and hatred and despair. I loved that. The ending still gutted my happy ever after heart, but it makes sense for their particular love story. What happened, it's keeping very much true to this book and not sort of pandering to what we would hope to see from an enemies to lovers angel demon romance. It has just gone the other direction, so far out. Now I haven't read any other Nebo books. This writing style is honey thick in its purple prose. It is incredibly flowery. You have to read this book a morsel at a time. I was happy to slowly meander my way through it and sink in the very intricate writing. If you read this book and you just hate the writing, it's not for you because it obviously is that way the entire way through. That being said, I do think there were some moments when, say, Vitrine is basically writing a love letter to her city and she's going back and forth in time to her memories of the people that were before, and then to the now where it's a desolate city. Some of those trips down memory lane felt a bit long. I feel like it could be trimmed down a little bit just to help with the pacing because like I said, it is a slower read. It takes longer to get through. And for a novella, it did feel longer than it was, but I was happy to take my time with it. So I think this once again is a case of I was in the right mood. If I was not in the right mood, I probably would not have liked this. I've given it a 4 stars. I just really like the fresh, unusual take on demons and angels and the way that she used language to convey both of these characters. That being said, I do feel like the angel character, who was never named, wasn't as fleshed out. We didn't get to know him as much, obviously, as we did Vitrine. But yeah, it was just a sort of solemn, sacred, vicious little book. And I really enjoyed it. I don't love the cover. I feel like the cover's not doing much for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. It was nice for me to sink my teeth into. And I do really love, I love a dynamic of angel and demon. And this one made it a little bit different, and I couldn't predict how they would respond to each other and what they would do. So that was fascinating. So let's quickly sum up all of the books that I have read for this vlog. So we had You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanna Wallace. I gave this 3.5 stars, and it's about a female serial killer who takes personal offense at people who abuse the elderly and also those who try to blackmail her. She didn't have none of that. Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. I gave this a 3-star, and this was about childhood friends, family traditions, and the monsters of the deep dark wood. I read Danger and Other Unknown Risks by Ryan North and Erica Henderson. I gave this a 3.25, and this was about a teenager and her talking dog who were trying to save the world whilst also finding love and the truth along the way. And then we've got Twice Shy by Sarah Hogel. I gave this a 3 stars, and this is about a woman who inherits a dead aunt's home and the groundskeeper along with it. And the groundskeeper turns out to be the man whose picture she was catfished with, and she discovers he's not like the imaginary man she thought she was talking to. And then we have The City in Glass by Neve Vo, which is about a demon, her beloved city, and the angel who destroyed it. And I gave that one a 4 stars. And that was my favorite read of the week. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.